Hi, hello, I'm here with another video, one a little bit more interesting than the last one. And unfortunately, sorry, no, this isn't the Half-Life video I mentioned in the previous one. That one's still being worked on, got a lot of editing still on that, but it's coming, I swear. So today I want to talk about another video, actually. A video by a guy who is not exactly the biggest fan of an up-and-coming game, Atomic Heart. And let's just say, his arguments aren't exactly the best, and the tone he takes in his video, well, I'll give you a listen.
I want to preface the video by saying that if you're the type of person that is still going to buy and play something like Hogwarts Legacy despite its infamy, you might as well click off, as I'm going to explain why it's a bad idea to purchase and play Atomic Heart. Go on, you have a Joe Rogan podcast to catch up on, or play Call of Duty or something, I don't know. Off you go.
As you can tell by the way he's saying things and what he's saying in those short few sentences, that he is being extremely condescending to anyone who is interested in Atomic Heart, and is very obviously coming right off the bat from a very bad place. And here's the thing, this might be controversial, but Monkfish and the people working there, they're just people. They are not leaders of Russia. They have nothing to do with the war that's going on. They are just making a video game. And there's many other Russian people out there who are getting blamed for the actions of their terrible leader. And that part really does make me mad. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's go through his points and debunk them one by one, shall we?
But let's start with the basics. What is Atomic Heart? Atomic Heart is a video game set to be released on February 21st, 2023 that is positioned by the developers as BioShock in the USSR. It describes the events of the alternative history of the 50s, where the Soviet Union emerged from the Second World War scientifically and technologically advanced, reaching the peak of development with cold nuclear fusion and intelligent robots. You play as Mayor Nechayev, who is a KGB major and an officer in special assignments. So far, the game has been universally appraised, earning top spots in oncoming games lists on sites like PC Gamer, IGN, and Gamescom. But let's see who is really behind it.
So first off, there's no real point here, he's just explaining the game. And honestly, that's what sold me on the game, is, you know, the basic idea about it, because I love BioShock, I love System Shock, and Cold War stuff has always been very interesting to me. The whole patriotic nationalism of the West versus the communism of the East is a very interesting moment in human history to study the Cold War and to see fiction and non-fiction stories come from that era. Hell, it's one of the main reasons why the first Call of Duty Black Ops game is so popular, is its campaign that took place during the Cold War. People love that kind of stuff, and is the reason why this game has gotten on a lot of people's radar.
The game is developed by a Russian studio called Monkfish. On the website of the studio, there is currently no mention of the fact that this is a Russian game dev. The story of the company begins with its launch in 2017 by a team of 4 like-minded gaming enthusiasts in Cyprus. At the same time, the studio was mentioned as a Russian one with an office in Moscow in Russian gaming and IT media articles. In 2019, there was even a report from the Moscow office of the studio. And after the events of 2022, the company completely ostracized itself from being known as a strictly Russian company and is now presenting itself as international, which in terms of their history of office installments and offshores means half Cyprus, half Armenian, half Singapore, and whatever the hell else, just to avoid sanctions and negative spotlight.
And there it is, the whole reason he made this video. Because Monkfish started out as a Russian-only company who has grown to be, bigger than that. They have shown to have people from all around the globe working for them. Again, it's something that's very common in the gaming industry if you did your homework.
So, now that we've established that this is actually a Russian studio, what is their opinion on the war going on? What could be their stance on this tragic matter? that could save and keep their public image and also not tank the sales. Let's read out loud together. Guys, we have noted the questions surrounding where we at Montfish stand. We want to assure you that Montfish is a developer and studio with a global team focused on an innovative game and is undeniably a pro-peace organization against violence against people. We do not comment on politics or religion. Rest assured, we're a global team focused... Hold on, stop. We do not comment on politics? You're making a game that's sole idea is USSR renewal and communism.
Hey, fun fact, developers don't have to share their political opinion and they can still make a game that contains politics. Also, fun fact, when Russia first invaded Ukraine, people did protest, and wanna know what happened to those people that protested? You can see videos of them getting arrested, and they just said it. They are pro-peace. They don't want war. Wow, who would have thunk it, right?
Let's look at the CEO of Montfish, whose name is Robert Bagratuni. Except that it isn't. His actual name is Maxim Zatsepin. Max previously had a position of a creative director / top manager in Mail.ru, which is now presented as VK, the biggest social media platform in Russia. It doesn't take much to figure out that a platform that is based in Russia, directed and controlled by Russia, and is used only by Russians will have a strict pro-Russian stance. But it doesn't end there. Meet Yevgenia Sidova. As the founder of Montfish, she's a former model and an owner of a modeling agency. She worked at New Media Stars, where she was in charge of the computer graphics department. That company is now in charge of various pro-Russian mass media such as Vzglyad.ru and Dni.ru. According to the former employees of the company, all Montfish transactions and checks are on her.
Okay, so at first I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt with the social media guy, but then he had to mention the second person, and it makes no sense. It is very obvious those two, according to their jobs, one social media and one working at a media company, obviously met and decided they want to make a video game studio instead. Like, to me, it seems like, yeah, they're a little suspect, but it seems like a lot of reaching on his part.
Let's roll back the time a little bit. The game has been in development for quite a while, and by quite a while I mean at least 7 years, with its earliest trailers dating back to 2017, and the scene in 2017 and 2018 wasn't as smooth for them. Many people got interested and excited, but a lot of people were skeptical, the reason being a shady system of pre-order.
Oh no, shady pre-orders, like that has been a problem in gaming since forever now. And look, I'm just going to say this, a game in development for 7 years is actually a good sign in my book, considering we are getting crap nowadays that's been made in less time. So I'd rather have a game take a little longer and come out good than rushed crap.
Talk economics. If you were to buy one and spend $60, where would these $60 go? That is a really good question. To answer it, let's look at what kind of companies signed up to be the investors and publishers for Atomic Heart, basically to be the ones who would be taking the large cut in Atomic Heart's revenue. The investors of the studio are Chinese Tencent and Russian GEM Capital and Gaijin.
Alright, so there's a lot of pack in this section, so I'm just going to summarize. Basically, these three companies are investing in the game, which is no surprise that Tencent is one of them. They're investing in everything, so no surprise there. Gaijin, he makes a big deal about Gaijin because they were originally in Russia until they moved to Hungary. But here's the thing, if you Google it, they moved to Hungary in 2015, which at this point in time is 8 years ago. And the last one being a Russian investor, most likely being from the government. And let's be real, with the kind of government Russia has, that's probably par for the course for most businesses that deal with stuff in Russia. And sorry to break it to this guy and multiple other people, even if there was no Russian investment, the Russian government is still going to get a piece of their pie, so to speak, with, something called taxes. We all pay taxes. If, the United States were to go to war, I would still be giving them money to go to war because I still have to pay my taxes. He also makes it known that some of these investors aren't exactly the best people. Surprise, surprise, rich people are awful. Who would have guessed it? That's just how it is nowadays. You'd be more shocked to find a rich person that's actually doing good, like Mr. Beast.
Credible terms of service and privacy policies spotted over at Montfish. The website now leads to a 404, but someone managed to capture these screenshots.
Alright, so he goes on to talk about how the terms of service, you are giving out your information, and obviously he has no idea what he's talking about. The terms of service is a legal document to protect their IP. It's as simple as that. And when it comes to our information, it's a sad truth, but companies sell our information all the time. That's how they get targeted ads when you go on social media. I don't like it, but it's just a sad truth about the world. It isn't just their company, it's basically every company with a social media presence.
Finally, let's talk about the game itself for a bit. Set in the USSR in 1955, Atomic Heart's story begins as the Soviet scientist Dmitry Sechenov creates an AI-assisted legion of robots that take control of all manual labor, leaving humans free to live a life of leisure and luxury. The main protagonist is a mentally unstable officer on special assignments, nicknamed P3, who is sent by this Professor Sechenov to keep the situation at Facility 3826 from deteriorating. The game is set in a utopian universe where the USSR had won and had a major boost in technical progress. The gameplay is centered around fighting through hordes of various types of enemies, ranging from plain robots to cosmic horror type obscurities. The game is filled to the brim with USSR-themed keepsakes and memorabilia, from drinking condensed milk straight out of the can to actual flags and symbols of the USSR hammer and sickle. This kind of approach to the showcase of USSR and communism walks a thin line between using it for world building and praising it. And there are many solid reasons to believe that this line has been crossed completely right into promoting and idealizing the USSR regime and using it as a tool of USSR and Russian military propaganda.
I really don't understand the point he's trying to make with this. This just sounds like they're trying to make an interesting world for their video game. Like, yeah, it's a fictional USSR where they won. Again, it's still fiction, not real. And of course, they're going to use the symbols that are, people recognize around the world. How else are you going to know it's the USSR? It's like Wolfenstein not using the swastika. It's called a PR event, okay? Lots of video game companies do this to help promote their games. And often than not, the PR events you will usually be themed in the game itself. It's not uncommon for this to be a thing. First, you gotta love the condescending attitude in his very last statement there. And second of all, who cares? Those are robots, not women. And he just spends the rest of the video criticizing the robots for some reason, saying they are somehow sexualizing women and sexualizing lesbians and bringing up Ukraine law for some reason, even though this is a worldwide release and not everyone's following Ukrainian law. It just doesn't make any sense. He's obviously very emotional about, the current events happening in his home country, which I do understand why he would be very much upset. I would be too. But to attack these developers, to attack the game for just an emotional reason doesn't make any sense to me. And besides, it's going to be on Xbox Game Pass, so I won't even be paying any money to play it because I want to play it. It looks fun, and if I don't got to pay money to play it, who cares? So anyway, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one.